There's a quiet power in walking away from chaos. And if there's one thing that tortures a narcissist more than any insult, more than any argument, more than any revenge, it's that. But let's pause and reflect for a moment. What really breaks a narcissist? Is it calling them out? Exposing their lies? Trying to beat them at their own game? No. The truth is much more subtle, and far more powerful. You see, narcissists don't operate in reality. They live inside a fragile illusion, an identity built entirely on how others see them. Take away the audience, and the mask begins to fall apart. This isn't about being cruel. This is about liberation. Today, I want to walk you through 9 powerful truths, 9 subtle shifts, that psychologically unravel a narcissist. And more importantly, each one reclaims a piece of your freedom. This isn't vengeance. It's emotional justice. It's you, finally choosing you. Let's begin. 1. Be indifferent, not angry. Anger feeds a narcissist. Indifference starves them. They live for reaction, good or bad. As long as you're emotionally involved, they feel powerful. They say something hurtful, you react. They guilt trip, you explain. They lie, you defend yourself. But the moment you stop reacting, a shift happens. Suddenly, they're yelling into a void. Their control slips. This doesn't mean you pretend to be cold. It means you withdraw the emotional oxygen they depend on. Indifference says, I've moved on. You no longer get to occupy space in my mind. And for a narcissist, that silence is louder than any scream. 2. Set boundaries, and don't explain them. Narcissists hate limits. Boundaries threaten their illusion of control. But here's the secret. You don't have to justify your boundaries. You just have to enforce them. I don't tolerate being spoken to like that. I'm not available for this conversation. I won't engage when I feel disrespected. You say it once. Calmly. Then you act accordingly. The more you explain, the more they twist it. But when you're firm and quiet, they're left with nothing to manipulate. It's not the wall that tortures them. It's the fact that you finally stopped apologizing for building it. 3. Reflect reality, not illusion. A narcissist's entire life is built on narrative. They rewrite history. Gaslight your memories. Twist your words. They survive by bending truth. So when you calmly speak reality, you break the spell. No, that's not what happened. I remember exactly how it went. This is what's true for me. You don't need to convince them. You don't even need them to agree. The act of not bending is what dismantles their control. Truth, spoken without emotion, is like sunlight to their darkness. It exposes what they've worked so hard to keep hidden. 4. Walk away without warning. Narcissists expect noise. They expect drama. They expect the pleading, the long texts, the emotional closure. What they can't handle is this. You leaving, quietly. You cutting contact, without needing to justify it. When someone controls you emotionally, they believe they have your mind on a leash. But when you detach, without a speech, without a breakdown, you pull the ground out from under them. They scramble. Panic. Blame. And yet, there's nothing left to grab onto. The quiet exit is the loudest message you'll ever send. 5. Focus on yourself, not on exposing them. Let's be honest, we want justice. We want the world to see who they really are. But narcissists thrive in conflict. They spin every exposure into victimhood. So here's the shift. Instead of trying to ruin their image, rebuild your own. Go to therapy. Start the business. Post that photo. Laugh again. Let them see you thriving without them. Because nothing tortures a narcissist more than watching the person they once controlled become someone they can't even reach. 6. be consistent, and unshakable. Narcissists test your limits. They break the rules. You set them again. They push. You fold. It's a cycle. But the moment you become consistent, something inside them breaks. They can't bait you anymore. They can't find the emotional door they once walked through. You say no, and mean it. You block and don't unblock. You speak the truth, and stop explaining it. You become immovable. And in that moment, they realize you're not the same person they once controlled. 7. Live a life that doesn't include them. This is the ultimate liberation. You don't talk about them. You don't think about them. You don't need them. You become free, not in defiance, but in direction. They call. You don't pick up. They bait you online. You don't reply. They try to pull you back in with charm, crisis, or guilt, and you're already too far ahead. Because here's the truth. A narcissist cannot exist where they are not the center. When you live a life where they're irrelevant, they feel erased. Not by hate, but by absence. And that is the deepest pain of all. 8. Don't try to prove yourself anymore. Let's be honest, narcissists love putting you on the defensive. They twist your words. They question your memory. They make you feel like no matter how much you explain, it's never enough. So what do? You write long messages. You pour out your heart. You try to make them understand. You defend your intentions, your choices, even your character, all in the hope that maybe, just maybe, they'll finally get it. But here's the truth. They do get it. They just don't care. Why? Because their goal was never to understand you. Their goal was to exhaust you, so they could maintain control. And here's how you break that cycle. Stop explaining. Stop justifying. Stop proving. Not because you're giving up, but because you're finally standing up. You no longer argue. You no longer over-explain. You no longer seek to be seen by someone who refuses to look clearly. Instead, you say one thing, once, and let silence do the rest. You don't owe anyone a courtroom defense for why you have boundaries, values, or peace. When you stop trying to prove your worth to a narcissist, you make the boldest statement of all. My truth doesn't require your permission. And that silence, that stillness, it's deafening to them. They lose their grip not because you shouted louder, but because you no longer needed to be heard. 9. Heal publicly, but live privately. Narcissists always keep tabs. Even after it's over. Even after they've discarded you, ghosted you, or claimed you were the problem. They still watch. Why? Because deep down, they fear one thing more than anything else. That you'll grow without them. And here's where your power begins. You heal. You show up for your life, fully, deeply, intentionally. Not to make them jealous. Not to prove a point. But because you deserve to be whole again. Let them watch. Let them wonder. Let them whisper. But don't perform. Instead, live. Invest in your health. Build friendships that feel like home. Pursue goals they once mocked. Travel, laugh, thrive, without ever explaining who you're becoming. You see, narcissists are addicted to the illusion of relevance. The moment you live like they don't matter anymore, it shatters their fantasy. They might try to circle back. Suddenly they'll show interest. Suddenly they'll apologize. But by then, you're out of reach. And nothing tortures them more than knowing. They were once your entire world. And now, they're not even a footnote. So yes, heal where you are seen. But grow where you are protected. Let your transformation be real, not performative. Because narcissists don't fear losing you. They fear losing their ability to define you. When you become someone they no longer recognize. Someone who no longer dances to their chaos. They don't know how to function. You've broken the cycle. And more importantly, you've reclaimed your narrative. Conclusion: freedom is the final word. This isn't about hurting someone else. It's about finally choosing not to hurt yourself for their comfort. Every tactic we talked about today, indifference, boundaries, clarity, distance, they're not weapons. They're tools of reclamation. You are not cruel for setting yourself free. You are not heartless for refusing to be manipulated. You are healing. And the truth is, when you stop giving a narcissist the stage, they stop being the show. So let me ask you. What part of you have you been sacrificing to protect their ego? How long have you been shrinking so they could feel big? It ends today. If this message stirred something in you. If you're done playing by someone else's rules. If you're ready to walk out, not in anger, but in clarity. Then subscribe. Every week, we share the tools, truths, and mindset shifts that help you break free, and rise stronger. Remember. Indifference is not weakness. It's power. Clarity is not cruelty. It's freedom. And you were never meant to live in someone else's shadow. Welcome back to your life. Subscribe now, and let's walk this road together.